All right, another quick update on the thing. I just keep finding things to work on it. So I thought the front end was done, but I decided to pull all the shocks off, which is 8 of them, and have them, I rebuilt them. I was gonna send them out, but they cost quite a bit to get them rebuilt, so I wanted to learn. And so I've got, the shocks are almost done. I've got one left, but this is what it looks like with no shocks at all on them, which is kind of nice because it gets you access inside there. You can look around, tighten things, check things. You can check to see how it cycles. This shock, this is done. That shock is bolted on, and what I did was I put new limit straps, connectors, whatever you call those bolt things. And the thing is the hood sits right about here, so these things can't stick up. So what I did, I clearanced them, put about a 1/4 inch clearance. I'll put a little rubber cap on there, but these things only stretch, they don't shrink. So in time, I'll probably have to take this nut off, and then that'll give you another about a 1/2 inch worth of adjustment. And these actually are, these have already been stretched, so they're probably not going to stretch any further, but they're set up now with about a 1/2 inch before it bottoms out. Bottoms out on the inside here. So that the front ends, this shock is set, this strap is set, and then the coilovers, I'm up in the spring rate. Those are the coilovers for the front. I'm up in them, one spring I'm up in 50 pounds just to make it a little stiffer. I'm doing the same thing in the back. This stuff is all about the same as I did with the last video. And I've done a bunch of work in here. So let me see if I can do this with one hand. So this is the old cut brake, and that's an EMPI cut brake, and they work pretty good, but the way these things should work, see if I can do this. See how that piston just goes, pops in and out, just nice and neat. Well, if you watched the last video, you noticed that the back right, I was having problems with. Well, I found out what was happening. This thing sticks. That thing is not, it goes in there and then it sticks, and then it holds the pressure in the back right. And so that's what was doing. In fact, it was even, I got to looking at it with the all jacked up, and I would hit the cut brake a couple times, and I'd go back there, and then the tires were locked up, and it wasn't freeing. So what I found out was, let's see, I can't find it. What I found out was, where's it at? It's missing. There's a spring that goes in there. Anyhow, there's a spring that goes in there, and then there's a rod. The rod hooks to it, and it's got a little plastic thing on it, and that's the little valve. And what happened was that rod came unhooked, and so it just wasn't functioning right, and that's what was eating the calipers up, or eating the rotors up, and making it drag that I didn't know. I was wondering because sometimes I'd get done with a run, and it would be you could see the coloration in the rotors wasn't right, but so anyhow, I decided to not, you can replace those, and you can also buy a kit for 40 bucks. And I just decided to go with a Wilwood. So I got a Wilwood mounted on here. I don't know if you can see this, but Wilwood's down there. And then I moved the shifting plate. I cut the shifting plate off and moved the shifter over about a couple of inches, and it looks like it's in the way, but when you sit in here, it's absolutely where it needs to be. And then another thing was, see if I can find it. There. This was in there as a parking brake. So basically, it goes from the master cylinder into here, and then it goes to the cut brake. And then when you're not using the cut brake, it goes to both rear tires. And then when you push the brake pedal and then push this down, it locks, it acts as an e-brake. Well, these things are known to be junk. So I took it out and I replaced it with a ball valve line lock. And it's just super simple. You just press on the brake pedal and flop that up, and then the back brakes are locked up. You hardly ever use it, but you never know if you're up on a mountain pass somewhere and you got to get out to help somebody and turn your tires into the mountain and then put it in gear and hit the brake. Your buggy's probably not going to roll off. But it turned out nice. I like how everything's positioned. When you're sitting in there, you just barely reach over and you can hit the shifter. You barely reach over, you can do the e-brake, and then the this brake is really nice. And before, the brake was way up here. You had to. It just wasn't comfortable. What else? And then the shocks. Yeah, shocks were a big deal. Man, it's no wonder they charge a bunch of money. All these shocks are done. They're ready to go. I'm waiting on springs. I think I had seven bearings. These are the small bearings. These are the big bearings. Replaced the ones that needed replaced. The other ones were still in good shape. This is so far I got one shock left to do, but that's all the seals, bushings and scrapers and all that stuff that were out of here. And then these are extras that they give you. These they don't make anymore. You can see here this one's cracked. This goes in between your coil springs. So I bought a set of these are the updated ones, which you can see the difference. And then I'll let the camera pick it up. But inside there's these little grooves. I guess maybe they help for the dirt getting out of there. So these will be nice. What else? And then this is the last shock that I've got to do. And this one is not in bad shape. That's a wear ring. Those things last quite a while, my understanding is. They're brass with something infused in them. This is a new one. This is what they look like new. This one really doesn't need to be replaced, but I bought a couple extra, so I'll put that on. And it's pretty neat learning about how these things work. This is the piston that goes inside the cylinder here. This thing goes in here, and okay, like if this was in here, this would be clear up to here, and then by the time you're done filling it, this pushes down about an inch or so, and then this is fluid here, and then on this side is nitrogen. So it's pushing up on there, compressing the oil so it doesn't foam up. Any little bubbles in there, they get really small under pressure. And then when the shock goes down, this piston goes down, fluid comes in, and then it pushes back up. But it's fun rebuilding them. It takes me a long time, but these shocks are done. I got one more to go. And then one other thing I think I'm going to do is this is the back deck. If you race it, you take these bolts off and then pop this off. I'm not going to race it, but it's got a deal here. This is where you can mount a spare tire. So I bought this thing, which matches my tires, my rims, my 5-wide rims, but this stud isn't long enough. And then also this bolt is too small. The original one is too small. This one's a lot bigger. But I could cut this off, weld this on, but still this isn't going to work. So I ordered a longer stud with a tire spinner on spin thing. And I think I'm going to mount the tire, take it off the roof and mount the tire back here. And then a lot of Jeep aftermarket parts, they sell a kit that you can put the license plate light and license plate in the middle of the spare tire. So I would actually like to have the weight back here. When you jump this thing, it has a tendency for the back to come up. Even if you tweak the suspension settings to not make it do that, it still has a tendency. So it could use the tire up there, and then that would free up all that space up there would be freed up, which would be really nice. You could put, if you want to go camping, or put a cooler up there. And then the last thing I say, oh yeah, the brakes are completely done now. This is the finished out brake. That's got the new hat. It's got a new adapter, new rotors, new brakes, and then it's got the finishing cap and it's got the main bearing. But both of the brakes are completely done, put together now. They just need to be cleaned with alcohol before I take it out and bed in the brakes. What else was I saying? Oh yeah, the other thing I was going to do is, it's kind of funny. Most Jazz fuel cells come with, there's just a plug right here. Basically there's a cap on there. Well, what's underneath that cap, I can't reach it right now, but if you pull that up, it's a dipstick. And that's how you know how much fuel's in it. Well, it works. You just make sure you've got enough for the day or whatever. But since I've got all this out and there's no shocks in here, this is a perfect opportunity to put a fuel sending unit right here. What I'll do is I'll take this out, and then I can reach in there and put the fuel sending unit right here, because I'll have to drill a hole here. And then there's not a lot of room up here on this dash, but I found out that in behind here, you take this off, and that's actually a horn. So I could take the horn button off of here, and then I've got a new autometer gauge coming here, so I'll put the fuel gauge here, which will be just kind of a luxury. It'll be nice having to be able to just take a look and see if you've got fuel or not. All the Heim joints back here has been replaced, and this thing is just as solid as could be. So that'll be good for a while. Transmission is at the welder's shop getting gussets welded on, and then he'll put that together, changing the 4th gear out so I can go down the highway a little bit better, not revving out. And I'm sure I'll find something else, but that's it for now. See ya.